Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Brandon Scoop B. Robinson, senior writer at Heavy.com and the host of the Scoop B Radio podcast. You know, I got to check out my guy, Austin D, because he's making it happen on Austin D Radio.
Thanks for the intro, Scoop. You guys are tuned in to another episode of Austin D Radio right here with your boy, Austin D. And on this episode, we'll be reacting to some of the Kevin Durant backlash received over my social media page the other day. DeMar DeRozan's time in San Antonio may be coming to an end. And with the New Orleans Pelicans hiring Stan Van Gundy as their latest head coach, how big of a step would the New Orleans Pelicans young core take going into next season? But before we get started, I want to thank all my listeners out there because Austin D Radio was nothing without you guys. But anyway, to go ahead and kick it off, this guest knows his basketball knowledge inside and out. And most importantly, this is his first time. That's right, his first time stepping into the boxing ring with me. That's right, my man Jonathan joins me in the studio. What's up, man?
What's up, man? How you doing, man?
Not much.
Great to be on the show. Glad. I've been trying to get on the show for a minute now. You've been ducking me. Can't complain though.
Nah, man. You never know. I never dodge smoke. But anyway, man, in the other corner, he likes to go by 4-0, and he is a co-host on OMN Presents the One Mic podcast, which is available on all streaming platforms. You guys can find him on social media at the Blessed 140. The one and only Calvin Robbins joins me in the studio. What's up, man?
You already know what it is, man. I gotta come in defend my boy, the great KD,
man. Now, Calvin. Before we get started, bro, I looked at your social media page, bro. What is this about the barber spitting on the floor, bro? What is that all about, bro?
Check it out, man. Check it out. So, me and my homeboy, we went to the barber shop, right? First off, the thing was he was talking about how black barbers been raising the prices since COVID-19. He was like, he called his barber, and his barber said it was $100 for a house call. So he's saying he's not gonna support black barbers. So I said, your barber not even black, your barber Hispanic. So it came. So we went to when I seen his barber, and his barber coughed up cold and spit straight to the floor.
Are you serious?
In the barber shop? I swear to God, I kid you not. This man, it was like adios mio. Like that is the exact action. He spit it on the floor and immediately said adios mio. Kept talking like nothing happened.
That is nasty. But anyway,
not a soul said nothing about it too.
Nobody said nothing about it.
Like it was normal.
Nah, that ain't normal, homie. That ain't normal. But anyway, man, going into the first topic of the podcast, man. So, Calvin, I'm gonna go ahead and start off with you with this, bro, because according to my social media page the other day, I posted a question. Is KD top the best scorer that we've seen in NBA history, and where would he finish all time, based off his whole NBA resume? And of course, I got responses ranging from he's not the best scorer in NBA history. He's top 5, behind Wilt, MJ, Kobe, etc., etc. Then I got some yes, and it was a bunch of varying opinions. But I know you saw some disrespect on the social media question. So what is your response to the people out there, man, that's listening?
I easily think KD gonna go down as the greatest scorer of all time. I don't think he's gonna be the greatest player, because I still think LeBron gonna be the GOAT for a while.
But wait, say that again for the listeners. LeBron
gonna be the GOAT for a while. Because the only reason LeBron not the best now is really age. It's not necessarily like he gotten worse, but he not. I feel like no player in the history was as good as LeBron with Miami the 2 years he won a ring. I ain't never seen nobody dominate like him since. So outside of that, I'm gonna say like KD, he truly unstoppable. It's nothing you can do to stop this man. And he could dribble, he could pull up from anywhere. He got a little post game if you want to. He could drive, he could take it in on you. He leaping. It ain't much you can really do to stop him. So I feel like he easily number one.
Right.
Number one scorer in history.
And for me, and my real question is, and I was speaking to Jonathan about this before we hopped onto the podcast. I was like, I'm like, okay, I understand where the hate is coming from in terms of the KD disrespect, but the real question is it warranted? I mean, no matter how you look at the championships that he won in Golden State, the man was an integral part. He won Finals MVP. So he won back-to-back chips. He's a four-time scoring champion in the league. What more do you want from this man? Like I understand the hate he receives from his move to Golden State, of course, because joined that squad after being up 3-1, blew the 3-1 lead, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm just trying to know, Jay, how warranted is the disrespect? Is it still warranted, or should like people, kind of chill on it, man?
I think the disrespect's not going to leave him until he wins something in Brooklyn, to be completely honest with you. People aren't going to give Kevin Durant the respect he deserves until he wins in Brooklyn. Honestly, for the mere fact that, he did do a move that, you can't compare it to how LeBron went to Miami, because, Miami wasn't coming off a championship win back in 09, 010. You know what I'm saying? Like, they were coming off of barely making the playoffs in the Eastern Conference compared to how Kevin Durant joined the 73 win juggernaut. And you could say the hate's warranted, but at the end of the day, you can't argue this man's talent. He's 7 foot with a pull-up jumper. He can run the baseline. He can run the top of the key. He can make plays for others as he's going to develop. His defense is always improving. If you want to talk about the skill of Kevin Durant, you can't argue. If you want to talk about the morality of Kevin Durant, then that's a whole different conversation.
And like, bro, Calvin, to be honest, bro, I'm not even gonna hold you on this. I never thought I'd see the day where people hate KD more than LeBron. I never thought I'd see the day where LeBron is the second most hated player. Because normal people put him at the top. You know what I'm saying?
No, definitely.
It's what's helping him right now is that he just won the ring. That's what it just like last year. Now, honestly, Kawhi is easily probably like top 5, top 10 player. But he win one ring. Oh, now he's either number 2 or number 1. Like, no, he can't just jump all these players. Can you honestly put Kawhi in front of Steph?
No.
Like they just jumped him straight to number 1. I'm like, yeah, he good and all, but you can't overhype the man. And I feel like that's what they kind of doing right now. LeBron got his 4th, so they gonna overly say he the GOAT. But I feel like he was the GOAT before he even got the 4th. I'm like just strictly off of skill alone.
My stance on LeBron James when it comes to the GOAT status, I do think he's the best player to ever touch a basketball.
I hear a butt coming.
Accolades and everything that he's accomplished compared, at least as of right now. Michael Jordan's icon level is something that, you could say it, LeBron hasn't touched it yet, only because whenever Michael Jordan was coming into the league, I like to say this a lot, whenever Michael Jordan was coming into the league, he was something we hadn't seen before.
Right.
And you could easily say the same thing about LeBron James, but we had seen superstar potential and we'd seen high school players come out and dominate before. But to where LeBron James's trajectory kind of hit, that was unprecedented. But if you want to talk about, what Michael Jordan did for the game of basketball, it was integratable. It was global. Like, his game, he's a 10-time scoring champion, if I'm not mistaken. Mm-hmm. Like, that's in 15 years. That's unprecedented.
Hold up, Cal. Jojo, like, but we can also make the same argument. LeBron's been to 10 finals in 17 years. Like, that's unprecedented.
Definitely, but you got to understand the situations in which he lost, though. Because, if you really only want to hold, the only thing you could legitimately hold against LeBron James is Dallas. And people say, yeah, if you want to start his career from like 2012 and go forward, obviously he's the greatest player of all time. If you want to go off of what he can do on the basketball court, he's the best player of all time. But in terms of what Michael Jordan did, he had 6 championships. His PER is the highest of all players ever. He's the most efficient player when it comes to scoring. He's obviously the greatest winner we've ever seen. And it's not like he was like Scottie Pippen 6 rings. No, Michael Jordan's getting those 6 rings. You feel me? Like, obviously he needed help, but in the sense of LeBron needed help too, obviously.
I don't want to necessarily say Jordan competition was very weak compared to LeBron.
I would say very weak compared to LeBron's.
If you can't compare no team Jordan played. When the greats were still in the league, when Jordan was young, he was getting dogged.
Exactly.
Until he got over Isaiah.
But you could also say that. You could say the same thing about LeBron James, mind you. Before Michael Jordan got Scottie, he was getting dogged. But before LeBron James went to Miami, he was getting dogged by Boston, Orlando, Detroit.
Hold up. Well, Calvin, hold up. Jojo, he was getting dogged. Hold up.
He lost in 5 to Orlando in 2009.
No, he lost in 6. I remember. But hold up. But the reason. Your Celtics point. He didn't. How the hell are you supposed to be a big 3? Arguably a big 4 with Ray Allen, Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett, and then Rajon Rondo. You tell me that's getting dogged. You tell me that's loading up on talent.
And even before that, he made it to the finals.
But you could say the same thing about Michael Jordan. He was getting dogged by that great Celtics team. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's like they weren't capable of beating those teams. But LeBron James had his historic performances when he took them to the finals. That's his apex. Like, honestly, you can compare these two things. Michael Jordan dropping 63 on the Boston Celtics and losing is comparable to LeBron James going to the finals in 07. Like we understood what those players were, but they just didn't hit that threshold yet until they got the surmountable help that they needed.
Low key, you can't compare it because Jordan shit was one game. LeBron did a whole playoff run, so it's you feel me? It's
he did average 40 in that series, though. Michael Jordan did average 40 in that series. And it's like, I mean, we can say what we want about him, but I mean, he did get dogged in the first 3 years. He lost to the Boston Celtics twice, and I think he lost to the Bucks with Sidney Moncrief, if I'm not mistaken. So it's like, I mean, yeah, the challenges both of these players faced, but I mean, at the end of the day, when they both reached their apex, LeBron James did fold when it came to Dallas. And I mean, and when it came to 2015, when he lost to Golden State, that definitely wasn't his fault because he didn't have Kyrie or Kevin Love.
Exactly.
Took him to 6. And I mean, that's probably a great achievement for him. But at the end of the day, he still did lose. And it's, I mean, you have to put context on it, but I mean, loss regardless.
A loss is a loss.
Right. And I kind of brought this up on my last episode too. It's like, you know, we tend to look at the generational gap, right? And then, you know, everybody might have, you know, their own GOAT or, you know, their own greatest of all time. But like, so like I want to break this, like I want to break this down in the like category type sense, right? So best scorer of all time. We all agree that's KD.
It's either Kevin Durant or Michael Jordan. It's really between the two. Like if you told me it's Michael Jordan, whatever. If you told me it's Kevin Durant, I'm probably going to say you're a smart man. But you know what I'm saying? I'm going to ride with Kevin Durant. Greatest
player of all time. What are you going to say?
The greatest? I mean, the greatest, I'm going to say Michael. But if you ask me who's the best talent-wise, it's LeBron James.
I say LeBron for both.
He said, "I got
skill. Hey. I fuck with Jordan. He decent. He's decent. You know, I don't know. I feel like people was too scared of Jordan, to be honest. Like just watching the what's the documentary that
The Last Dance.
That whole thing just let me know that everybody was scared of him.
I mean, you got to understand why they were afraid of him, though. Like he was dogging everybody. If you mess with him, he literally created fantasies in his head and allowed him to drop 50 on you because of those fallacies he created. Like that's the type of domination I'd love to see from players. Like that's why I appreciate Kobe Bryant because he was able to replicate it so well and made it his own Mamba mentality. You feel me?
Yeah.
And listen, but if you ask me who's the greatest player, I'm still gonna say Michael Jordan. I think if LeBron James goes back to back, he's easily like you can't argue anymore that he's not eye to eye at least with Michael Jordan. If he three-peats with the Lakers, it's over with. It's rap. There's no argument you can make for him. He's at 6. He did a 3-peat. He got all the points. He has all the assists. He has all the numbers. There'd be no debating LeBron James is the greatest player of all time at that point. That's 12 finals. God damn.
Hey, I can't argue with that. But moving on to some more NBA news. So it appears that DeMar DeRozan seems to be unhappy in San Antonio. So I kind of want to start off with you, JoJo. You know, just looking at, you know, DeMar DeRozan as a player and you know, how he got traded from Toronto to San Antonio and now he's unhappy in San Antonio. How do you feel about this? And, you know, can you count like where's the most likely destination you see him going in free agency?
Honestly, we kind of know what DeMar DeRozan is at this point. He's not the number one option on the team. He could be a number 2. It's yet to be seen because I mean there was no one on San Antonio that was better than him. And you could argue in Toronto that Kyle Lowry was better or that he was better, but at the end of the day, they didn't make it far besides the Eastern Conference Finals when they took 2 off LeBron James's Cavs. I mean, DeMar DeRozan, he's a great talent in a sense of his mid-range is one of the best ones in the league. His defense could be a lot better. He doesn't really have much effort on the defensive side. But in terms of what San Antonio should do with him, I honestly think he'd be good with Milwaukee, if you want me to be honest. I feel like he'd kind of create another offensive player that Chris Middleton wasn't. Because DeMar DeRozan, I mean, at the end of the day, he still is capable of going off for 35, 40 if you give him the opportunities. Because I think if you relegate Chris Middleton to that third role, or if DeMar DeRozan runs that third role and Chris Middleton runs that second, maybe that could be what they need. Or possibly if you wanted to just kind of place him anywhere to where he could be efficient, what would be a good spot? The Clippers, no. They need bigs, honestly.
They need a point guard. That's what they really need.
I mean, Rondo would be beautiful over there, but he's not leaving. Honestly, DeMar DeRozan's a really hard character to gauge because like he could fit in a lot of roles only because he has a scoring knack. But it's like, will he like put any other team over the hump? Doubtful. I personally doubt it.
All right, so I kind of disagree with you on that take. Like, if we look at the whole landscape of the NBA right now, right? It's for me, I feel like it's more of a 3-point shooting contest, right? Like you gonna have to make threes to stay in the game. Like at this, like in terms of today's NBA, like if you don't make like at least 15 threes a game, you're probably not even in the contest in the first place.
Yeah, unless you have some bigs that can help you get that offensive pressure.
Right. And then when we look at DeMar DeRozan, he's more so of a mid-range kind of scorer. But
terrible 3-point shooter.
But like looking at last season, according to the stats, he finished ranked 31st out of 43 players from the mid-range spot, and he was like that's not gonna cut it. Like if we see the main thing that you're predicated on is your mid-range game, and then you finish 31st out of 43 in terms of the mid-range spot, I'm not taking. I don't like. Trust me, I like DeMar DeRozan. I feel like he was done dirty by Toronto. Albeit Toronto ended up winning the chip.
They did the right move, but I mean, they did him dirty at the end of the day.
Exactly, but for me, like basically in today's NBA, DeMar DeRozan does not fit. The game has surpassed the skill set. The man can still average 20. You know what I'm saying? He can still average 20 to 23 points per game. But in terms, like you said, in terms of winning the chip in today's NBA with his style of play, it's not possible. He cannot be your focal point. He cannot.
I don't know. You don't think he could go back to Toronto?
Nope.
Unless
I feel like he'll mesh well if he go back to Toronto.
Unless he got his passport. That's the only way.
Honestly, he's not beating anybody in Toronto if he goes back. I mean, what? They're not better than Miami with him over there. They're not better than Brooklyn. They're not better than Philadelphia, probably even. If they fix their shooting, Philadelphia could be a contender. But Toronto's good for what they are, but we realize what Pascal Siakam is. He's not a number one. He's a great number two. But, I mean, would DeMar DeRozan be that number one? No, we've seen how that worked.
I don't know. I mean, his last couple of years with Toronto, I want to say he was averaging like 28 points in the season. So
in the season, yeah, and it tilted to like 17, 19 whenever the playoffs started. Mm-hmm. Kyle Lowry was never winning games more than likely. I think Kyle Lowry's a Hall of Famer. To be
honest. After he won that ring. Whoa, you don't think so, Calvin?
I don't think so. I don't see him fold a couple times in the playoffs. He got his one. I ain't gonna lie. He put him over the top in the finals. But
he was the leader.
All his other playoff wins was not it.
I don't know. Remember he's the reason they beat Miami a couple of years ago with that half-court shot game winner. I feel like he's been like the sole kind of for Toronto that they've always needed. Like whenever Chris Bosh left, they really didn't have an identity. Whenever Vince Carter left, they didn't have an identity. Kyle Lowry's been consistent with Toronto, at least in the sense of pitbull.
I don't like his play. I guess I personally just don't like his play style. Like, yeah. I don't think I don't even see him as an all-star player. Like, I just see him as I don't know. Like, I feel like he's just a person who plays hard. He not necessarily Patrick Beverly, man. He's not necessarily Patrick Beverly, but he was like before him. I feel like he was the epitome of playing hard before Patrick Beverly came on the scene. You feel me? He wasn't like a dog or nothing like that, but like he always played hard. You always seen him giving.
You remember Game 6?
That's the type of player I've seen.
Hold up, Calvin. So you basically saying a souped up version of Patrick Beverly?
Oh
that's what Kyle Lowry was. A souped up version of Patrick Beverly.
Basically, but he bigger. He bigger though.
No, he's smaller than Patrick Beverly. They're damn near the same size. They're like.
No, I'm saying big.
You talking about muscle? You talking about muscle?
Yeah. See, I can't ride with that one because Kevin Durant, Kyle Lowry gave you 20 and 11 in that closeout game against the Warriors a couple years back, who almost forced the Game 7, mind you. And remember in the bubble in Game 6 against Boston, didn't he go off for like 30 plus, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah,
and he kept
as of late, he been doing this thing. He done turned the tide.
Couple years.
I feel like one more season of it, then I'll give you respect. But
evenly like 30 years.
Hey, Calvin. But with DeMar DeRozan, what do you see him going to a contending team in free agency, or do you know, or what?
I'm pretty sure some team will pick him up, but yeah, like I say, his play style, he kind of ISO. He really an ISO player.
Hey, I'm glad you brought that up, Calvin. I want to give you a quick fact. So according to Pound of the Rock, part of SB Nation, DeMar DeRozan had 316 isolation possessions during the 2018-2019 season, which ranked third in the NBA behind Russell Westbrook and James Harden. Now you want to know? Do you want to know the common denominator between all those three? Not only are they isolation heavy, but they can't win a damn thing with their style of play. So I'm glad you brought that up, Calvin. But go ahead and finish your point.
I don't like the ISO. I don't know, like if he gonna have to be in a kind of similar role to Melo. He's gonna have to try to switch his game up, but he not really a good catch and shoot player. Terrible. So I don't know. I mean, he probably could work on it, but just as of how he play now, I don't know if he's gonna really be able to make it.
See, I don't know if you can work on that. I don't know if you can improve your catch and shooting in a sense when your game is predicated on the mid range.
Especially like, his form.
It's his form. It's just not there. It's like whenever he pulls it farther, it's like, dang, DeMar, you just hit the side of the rim. It looked like.
I don't know what he got going on, but I don't know. I hope he could do something.
I don't know. But of those three, James Harden is the most efficient of those isolation scorers. I honestly think you could win a championship with James Harden. I think, mind you, he was the closest.
Because he can shoot.
Because he can shoot, exactly. He was closest to being Golden State. Remember in their little big run, out of all the teams in the NBA, he's the only one that took him to 7.
Jojo, did you just spit that out your mouth? Did you just say the Houston Rockets can win a championship with James Harden's style of play?
They obviously have to tweak some things, but yeah, I think they still could.
But not with that small ball. That's small ball. That small ball is dead. You saw how they got.
They're not Golden State. That small ball is not going to work.
Oh no.
See, but I did hear something interesting. If you could bring Giannis over to to Houston, now that would be interesting because then the small ball would work. If you can have Giannis run that 5 position, oh my God, he'd be Clint Capella on steroids.
This man. man. But anyway, moving on to our next topic before we go ahead and go into the fire round. So basically, earlier this week, the New Orleans Pelicans picked up. They hired Stan Van Gundy as their latest head coach for the squad. So Calvin, we'll go ahead and get this topic kicked off with you. How much of an impact do you think Stan Van Gundy is gonna have on this young core? I mean, because like we've been hyping up this young core for about a season ever since Zion. I think more so people been hyping up Zion more than the whole young core as well. But we seen the development of Brandon Ingram. Kinda not so much from Lonzo Ball. I'm threatening to say he a damn buzz that thanks to his daddy. But how much of an impact do you see Van Gundy having on the Pelicans going into next season?
I feel like Van Gundy gonna turn them around. I don't know if it's necessarily gonna be the next season, but I feel like they're gonna be either the 5th or 6th seed within the next 2 to 3 years. Like, and I feel like it's gonna be kind of how Shaq came out. Like I feel like that's how what's his name? That's how who the best player on that team? What's the young boy name? Zion. That's how I think that's how Zion gonna be. He's gonna become an all-star immediately under the guidance of Van Gundy.
What about you, JoJo?
I'm hesitant. I'm very hesitant on Stan Van Gundy. Only because of the fact we saw what he did in Detroit. Absolutely nothing.
What about his days in Orlando? You know,
Orlando, that's the thing. But I mean, is there anyone comparable to Orlando's squad to Dwight Howard, that defensive anchor? Because mind you, that play style in Orlando was immaculate until they met the Lakers in the finals. It was Dwight anchors the middle and all those shooters around him. You had Hedo Turkoglu, you had Jameer Nelson, you had JJ
Redick. Yes, sir.
Snipers,
Michael Pietrus, bro. Rashard Lewis.
I
remember that squad, low key.
Snipers.
They was deep.
So what I'm thinking is like in the sense of what if he can somehow find the concept of how to keep Zion healthy, but also get his motor in the same, get the best out of that motor because his motor is probably going to go down. It's probably one of the best in NBA history. His second jump, it's scary. It's very scary. But in terms of what I think Stan Van Gundy can offer, I think he'll bring a sense of toughness that they do. I think he'll bring them a basketball IQ that they need because they're obviously young talent. Honestly, all they really need is Lonzo Ball to develop a shot. Because if Lonzo Ball becomes a threat from outside, his passing's already there. His defense is obviously already there. His IQ, his shot selection, that's the problem. He doesn't know when to take the threes or honestly how to take the three, it looks like. I'm a fan of Lonzo Ball because of what he did at UCLA, but his daddy, like you said earlier, his daddy made him the second overall pick. He was not the second overall pick. He was not better than Jason Tatum in that draft. He was not. Markelle Fultz also shouldn't have been the first pick, but I mean, that whole draft itself was just kind of.
I got a quick question. So, do y'all think they should put Lonzo on the bench and let Drew just start as the point?
I think they're trading Drew. To be honest, I heard something about him from Denver.
Drew too nice. He might be the most underrated player in the league.
Mm-hmm. He might be. Honestly,
I'm surprised he missed it on the all defensive NBA team. That because Drew could really lock some dudes up. Like if you ever seen Drew play, he could lock some dudes up. He and I don't know why he gets so much. Like I don't know why he's so underrated. The dude Drew Holiday could hoop. He could hoop.
If you ask me who's a better defender though between him and Marcus Smart, I'm probably riding with Marcus Smart because I think Marcus Smart was the one who had that last guard position on the all defensive team. Mm-hmm. And Drew Holiday did miss a couple games, but Marcus Smart that boy can defend. But honestly, I feel like he said earlier, they could be a 5th seed within the next couple years. Because I mean, there's gonna be certain teams obviously that they're not better than Golden State. They're not going to be better than the Lakers. They arguably aren't going to be better than. The Clippers might be there. Dallas, if they get everything going, they're going to be a problem for the next couple of years. But I mean, they have the pieces. They definitely have the talent in New Orleans. I just hope Stan Van Gundy can kind of get the most out of them because he is a player's coach at the end of the day.
For me, I think the only thing that's going to hold back, what's really going to hold back the Pelicans and their growth is going to be the health of Zion. Mm-hmm. He's got to come off of some of that weight. You cannot be like 6'7" and almost be 300 pounds. Like even though he be bullying dudes in the paint, he like I said, he kind of reminds me like a Blake Griffin. Like that's what I think. He reminds me of a Blake Griffin. But in turn, like that, I think Zion's health and then like the amount of games he missed with like knee injuries, and I think that along with Lonzo's shot, like. Because like you said, Lonzo basically has everything in the bag. Like it's his shot. Like I think if he gets the shot down, and then of course you got Brandon Ingram coming into his own. Like I'm like, yo, like there's some serious talent there where you could be like, oh snap, like this team could really be dangerous for a long time. But it's gonna be those two major factors, which is what which I think will come down to when we're talking about the New Orleans Pelicans and their future with Stan Van Gundy. But man, I don't know if you know, but of course, we love to do the fire round from time to time, especially with first-time guest on the podcast. So I don't know if you saw, but NBA 2K recently posted their NBA 2K21 ratings for next gen. So I want you to say, is it too high, too low, or is it just right? All right. Okay. So we're gonna go ahead and get it kicked off. But of course, LeBron James, he has a 98 overall going into 2K21.
I think he's just right. I think
just right.
It's right there. Finals MVP, best player in the league still. So yeah, I think as long as no one else is above him, I'm fine with it. To be completely honest.
All right, Trae Young, he got an 88 overall.
88.
No, he did complain on Twitter. He thought it was a little too low. He thought it should at least be a 90 and up.
I wouldn't give him a 90. I'm like giving him 86, 87 to be completely honest with you, because I like to look at basketball on both sides of the court. Obviously, he's an offensive juggernaut when it comes to the way he can score. Especially my favorite game by Trae Young was when he went crazy against the Chicago Bulls when I think he dropped 60 or 45. It was something in that range, but he went ballistic when they went to quadruple overtime. But he couldn't guard anybody. He couldn't guard me. He couldn't guard a fly off the wall. He couldn't guard the teeth in his mouth. I'm telling you, he's just too small. I think if you have to factor in how much he gives you value offensively, you have to take it away from how much he takes away from you defensively. So if you ask me, I'm gonna give him an 87. If just down one, I'd say 86-ish.
87, okay. For me, I think it's just right. I'm not gonna complain too much. I think it's just right. Like I said, I might have bumped him down maybe to an 87, but 88. Like I said, I'm not gonna beat him up over it. But moving on. So Jimmy Butler got a 93 overall. Too high, too low, just right.
I think honestly he could be up to a 94 because he was think about it. In the finals, he was the first player to outscore, out-assist, and out-rebound LeBron in a finals game, who's played, 50-plus finals games? That stat alone just kind of shows you the greatness of LeBron, but it also shows you what Jimmy Butler did in his own sense. And he outplayed LeBron James in 2 games in the finals. when he dropped 40 earlier, I think it was in game 3, and in game 5 when he forced game 6, when he dropped, what was it, another 35 triple-double. Jimmy Butler, if they had another complimentary piece, or honestly, if they were healthy, they could have pushed it to 7. But I think a 94 would honestly be a little more fitting for him.
All right, moving on. So Giannis got a 97 overall.
I'm fine with that. MVP, DPOY. What was he? I don't know what he was last year, but 97 is completely fine with me because I think his physical attributes are nothing we've seen before. He's like 6'11" with an 8-foot wingspan. It's monstrous. He can dunk on you from the baseline, while also the other baseline. It's monsters. But I don't know if it'll peak up higher unless he learns how to shoot consistently. But if you ask me where it is, I think he's just right.
Oh, look who came back. What happened, folks? What happened?
Man, I don't know. I guess I had to come inside the building so the Wi-Fi could be stronger. I tried to come back like 3 times. It ain't never come.
Nah, you good. We were just we were just going through some of the NBA 2K ratings that were released earlier today. So I'm gonna go ahead and catch you up. You tell me, is it just right? Is it too high or too low? All right. So I just want you, like I said, just give me a simple answer. So Trae Young got an 88. What you think?
He might need to be a little higher than that.
Oh, I said low.
He might.
All right, I
think he might need to be a little higher.
A little high?
At the most 90. At the most 90.
Okay.
It might be just right. It might be just right.
Just right.
It ain't too far off.
All right, LeBron got a 98.
Oh, that's good.
That's good.
That's right. That's right.
That's right. Jimmy Butler got a 93.
The way he played, he deserved a 93, so I ain't gonna be mad at it. But that is a major jump from
last year.
Like, how he's hooping in the NBA Finals. I ain't gonna lie, Jimmy Butler a dog. I'll give him that.
He deserved it. But at the same time, I don't know, because do you think? Because I feel like when Wade did his little finals, when he had his finals run, he was like a 93, 94.
Mm-hmm.
So do you think? Do you think Jimmy Butler his finals compared to Wade?
Nope, because he lost.
Nope.
Then they lost. If he won, he might have been a 98.
I don't know, but you're kind of pushing it, JoJo. You're pushing it.
He beat that Lakers team while injured by himself. Oh, him and LeBron switch your ratings to me, because at that point, you got to switch.
I think a 93 is just right. Maybe I'd give him a 94, but 93 is just right. So also, Calvin, Giannis got a 97. What you think? Too high, too low, or just right?
I like Giannis, but I think he should be like a 95.
I think
he should be like a 95.
Because he ain't got no jump shot. He ain't got no jump shot.
He got one, but it got to be set.
Yeah, it's a
like
set
he
shot.
Can't. It's definitely a set shot. If you just leave him wide open, you don't see him hit like 4 threes in the game from time to time.
Yeah, when he played the earlier season.
Yeah, he'll make them, but it ain't just consistent. It's because he's too big. He got too much muscle.
Too long. He's shooting like this.
All right. So I got you caught up. So we basically finna go ahead and fire through these. So Luka got a 94. What you guys think? Real quick.
I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that.
Devin Booker got an 88. What you think?
He should have been 90.
Definitely 90. Definitely. I agree that's a little.
And I feel like if we think Devin Booker should be a 90, I think we should think Trae Young should be a 90.
No.
Hold it. That is logical thinking. I can't hold you, Calvin. That really is.
So Trae Young, he did his thing. Like before Dame Lillard took over with the half court shots and everything. It was Trae this year. It was Trae doing his thing, nutmegging people. It was Trae.
I mean, I won't give you that only because of the fact of, Devin Booker is like 6'7" to Trae Young's 6 foot. And in terms of offensive talent, they're pretty comparable. What was it? Devin Booker hit that game winner on both Clippers, both of those dogs on the Clippers, went 8-0 in the bubble. I think that's what these ratings are based off of, their bubble kind of performances.
Okay.
Because, he went ballistic through them 8 games. And I think he would have given the Lakers more of a battle than Portland would have, to be completely honest. Because they had the size to kind of play with them. Like, what was it? I can't remember their center's name. Ayton. DeAndre Ayton. I think he would have been a little bit better to guard Anthony Davis, at least because of his, his length defensively. Hassan Whiteside and Nurkic were kind of they couldn't put a body on him. And I mean, no one's gonna put a body on Anthony Davis, but I feel like that team, in a sense, could have given at least 2 games off the Lakers. Maybe if a better game won. But I mean, I'm not too upset.
I don't know. I ain't sure because I feel like the only reason Portland ain't really give them a run because they had to do so much to get in.
And they did.
And Dame was out of gas.
Had to do the same thing. Yeah.
Dame was out of gas. You could tell he was out of gas.
CJ had the broke back or whatever was wrong.
Yeah, that broken bone in his back.
Yeah. It's tough. So James Harden got a 96. What you guys think?
Fine with that, honestly. I'm fine with that. I don't hate that. I don't know why, but I'm content with that 96.
That's solid.
I'm solid with that too. So the new dynamic duo in Brooklyn, Kyrie got a 90 and KD got a 95.
KD need that 97.
I wouldn't put him right one under Bron. I wouldn't match him up with Giannis only because he missed a year. I'd say if you want to put him at anything, just give him up one more, like a 96.
Hey, Calvin, is that disrespect? That you got the 95? That disrespect?
No, because once again, he at first I wasn't thinking about it, but he did not play, so you can't just give him that nod like that.
When he comes back, he's gonna go crazy. I honestly think.
I hope so, because them injuries he coming off of.
Achilles is some
serious.
Achilles is no joke.
So also the other duo that missed last year as well because they were injured. The Splash Brothers. Clay got an 89. Steph got a 95.
That's cool.
That's cool. I'm cool on that too. Dame Dollar got a 95. We good on that?
He deserves it.
He earned that.
He earned that 95.
And
crazy.
And lastly, the future superstar that we all predict he's going to be, Zion, got an 86. Now to be honest, I don't know how to feel about this one. I'm not even going to hold you. That's really the only one. I think maybe 84, 83 for Zion, but I think 86 too high. But I will say that I think the marketability of Zion, I think that's what really kind of boost up his rating a little bit. But I do, for me, I think I'll put him at an 83, 84 at the most.
I don't know. He a young man, but he grown man.
He's a grown man. That's the problem.
Like he really muscle grown men as a young man.
Coming into the league, I remember there was this craziest stat I heard. It said apparently if Zion Williamson was in the league right now, he would have been the second heaviest player in the league behind Boban Marjanovic, the center for Dallas. I was like, that's insane. He needs
to lose some weight though.
He does need to lose some weight. He needs to be in the 260 area. He's like 290, 300 near. It's
right.
I think strictly off his athletic ability, he need to be the 86 cool.
86 is cool, man. Because
I feel like he only low because like they probably got his awareness down or something.
Yeah. His injury.
Young people, they gonna put it.
Honestly.
Oh man, yeah. Man, y'all boys wild. Y'all boys wild. But anyway, also, hold up, real quick before I get out of here. I know it's October 22nd, right now, but the GOAT's birthday comes up in a couple of days. My boy Drizzy Drake, you feel me? October 24th, Scorpio season. You know what I'm saying? Man. Proud Scorpios in the building. To the people that's listening, hey, yes, I'm watching Degrassi. I'm still watching Jimmy Brooks. I'm on season 6, so I didn't got past, and I didn't grieved enough when Jimmy got shot in the hallway. I'm on, like I said, I'm on season 6. I didn't grieved enough. So people stay on my DM
about that.
You did.
He didn't even hit his spine. I don't know where his back went. I was like, oh.
Yeah, to be honest, I thought JoJo was joking, but I looked at it in slow motion. I'm like, I look at it, I'm like, JoJo got a point. It didn't hit him in his spine. JoJo got a real good point.
I never in my life watched Degrassi. As soon as I heard the little the intro, change it to the next channel.
Whatever it takes.
I only seen him Drake in the wheelchair. Every time I watched it, I never seen him walking.
Never?
I only see him in the wheelchair.
So that's all you know him as is wheelchair Jimmy, huh?
Yeah, and the Drake,
Oh man, yeah. Well, y'all boys funny, but
one thing though, right before we get off.
What's up?
How was the Kawhi Leonard's rating drop? I've been looking for his. Like, have they just been selective with the rating drops, or? Why isn't he in the top, player rankings droppings?
Well, I think eventually, of course, they're gonna drop all of them. But but you worry about the wrong Clipper that needs needs his rating drop. Paul George needs his rating dropped. Okay, the way that man poo-pooed in the playoffs. Hey, I wouldn't be surprised if he comes out at the 88 or 87. He does not need, but he needs to be below a 90. I'm sorry,
to be lower than Jason Tatum at least. He needs to be lower than Jason Tatum, who's at a 90.
Ain't nobody in this world call that man playoff Pete except for himself. You can't name yourself.
Right, and like I said, I keep telling people this, bro. It's not the fact that he got a nickname, bro. It's the fact that you nicknamed yourself, bro. And if other people or commentators or outside media give the nickname, okay, you flame out, whoop-de-doo, right? But the fact that you gave yourself the nickname, the fact that you failed to announce that Dame sent you home packing, the fact that you flamed out in the playoffs this past season with the Clippers against the Nuggets.
Season. Ain't not one season he shined in the playoffs. Not one time.
But we going on 2000. He was in the Eastern Conference Finals.
I don't count that because he took out Melo, something like that.
When he take out Melo,
I think that was that year when Melo was with the Knicks.
Oh yeah.
He did do that, didn't he?
Roy Hibbert
was hurt. Mark Stoudemire was hurt, so Melo.
Roy Hibbert. I just said a name.
Roy Hibbert.
I forgot all about Roy Hibbert.
He was the man. Once upon
Roy Hibbert forgot about Roy Hibbert.
I definitely forgot about Roy Hibbert. I'm not even gonna hold you. Not even gonna hold you. We're
gonna talk about Roy Hibbert.
But anyway, man, you guys are still tuning to Austin D Radio, man. Before we go ahead and sign out, again, I want to thank my boy JoJo, my boy Calvin for hopping on to the podcast, man. Like I said, first timers, I had to put him through the ring. I had to put him through the fire. I had to let him respond, to some of the criticism that the boys was facing. But anyway, man, you guys can find JoJo on Instagram. JoJo, matter of fact, where can they find you on Instagram, broski?
My Instagram name is Percaroni. It's like macaroni and perk. It's a combination of the both. PERC Aroni. It's a great finding. I found it on Twitter once and it stuck with me.
The only reason I ain't say your IG name because I ain't want to mess it up. I'm not even gonna hold you. I didn't know how to pronounce it. I ain't want you to crave, so that's why I went ahead and let you. I threw your alley-oop basically, so go ahead promote yourself. But also my boy Calvin, you guys can find his podcast, of course, the One Mic Podcast on all streaming platforms, Spotify, Apple Music, anywhere you guys get your podcast from, you guys can find it on there. But Calvin, where can they find you on Instagram and so they can stay up to date on new episodes, and when you drop new content?
Instagram, you can find me, the Blessed 140. Yes, Twitter, you can find me, OnMan40. I know what it is. I every time we drop a pod, I gotta drop a snippet for y'all.
Yes, sir.
So, y'all always gonna find something. I'm gonna let y'all know when we drop. Matter of fact, we're supposed to be we're recording Sunday. That's what we aiming for. We always say that, and we never do it. So hopefully we do it this time. So Monday we're gonna have a new pod for y'all.
I got a cookie on your podcast too, man.
Look, if y'all want to join, just let me know. Hit me up. We have so many visitors every week. Like it really don't matter.
I was, JoJo, what's funny? I was really finna ask him, like, hey, bro, when can I join, bro? You know what I'm saying, bro? I'm definitely trying to collab, bro. Not just bring people on mine, but I'm also trying to, be on theirs to, have that mutual relationship with other podcasts as well. But
we definitely always down.
Yes, sir. But again, man, thank you guys for coming through, sliding through on Austin D Radio, man. I'm surprised you guys took the heat the way y'all did. But anyway, man, you guys are tuning in to Austin D Radio, man. Until next time, let's get it. Peace. What's up, y'all? It's your boy Austin D here, and thanks for tuning in to another episode of Austin D Radio. If you'd like to catch up on any of the previous episodes, you guys can find the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you guys get your podcasts from. All you have to do is type in Austin D Radio. Also, if you'd like to stay updated on topics for upcoming episodes, you guys can follow me on Instagram @_I am Austin D. And remember, Austin D Radio is home of all trending NBA news.